Watch Hearts of Heroes tomorrow morning at 11.
Drama is building.
We got a team who's playing their best football coming in here.
As Nebraska hopes for a plot twist in their postseason drought.
We know it's important to get that 6th win.
The Huskers are looking to write their own Hollywood ending.
I think instead of it being like a confidence booster, it's more of like just a confirmer of what we're capable of.
And be bowl-bound with a win over UCLA.
You're watching the Hometown Showdown, Battle with the Bruins.
And welcome in, everyone, to your Hometown Showdown, Battle with the Bruins. I'm Nate Johnson, joined alongside Jake Holman. We got so much to get into today as the Huskers look to get a much-needed win after they return home from the road, a 2-game losing streak on the road, Jake.
Yeah, Nate, the one thing on the minds of a lot of Husker fans today is 2 words: bowl status, right? The Huskers realistically have their best chance at securing their 6th win of the season today versus a UCLA team that is, well, struggling. But of course, we'll get much more into that later. But first, Nate, breaking down last week's Husker game versus the Buckeyes. You were there. It was a much closer matchup versus Indiana, of course. What are your thoughts about how last week's game played out?
Yeah, Jake, it was a fantastic game when you look at it from a 50 feet above ground sort of view. The Huskers, well, they showed a lot of grit, a lot of desire, and a lot of potential. And we'll get into more detailed stats a little later on here, but Nebraska outscored Ohio State in the second half 11-7, 3-0 in the third quarter, and then 8-7 in the fourth. And they control over 50% of the possession time. That was encouraging because second halves haven't been very kind to Nebraska. You think back to Colorado, where they scored 0 points in the second half. Illinois, where they were outscored 21-7, including overtime, but still, and they scored 0 points in the second half against Rutgers. Now, I know they had a great second half against Purdue, but to outscore the 4th-ranked team in the country on the road was very telling. To me, I hope this is true, but it feels like there was a mindset change in Nebraska, and I want to take us back to Matt Rule's post-game presser after Ohio State that I think confirms that theory. And also, this doesn't fire you up a little. I mean, come on. Here was Matt Rule's opening statement following Nebraska's loss to Ohio State.
As you go through this, the hardest part of what we did when we went to Temple and what we did when we went to Baylor was getting guys not to say, oh, here we go again, and getting guys not to expect to lose. Getting everyone, including the people around the program, not to focus always on what's wrong, but what's right? And that's hard, right? You're constantly talking to your staff, your coaches, your players. Last week was a low for us since we've been here. Because the minute the game got hard, we kind of looked around like, oh no, what's happening to us? Kind of victims, like, yeah, this is happening to us. And this was a hard week. But a week that I knew, because of my experiences, we would turn into something good. We would teach. The players would see us, instead of us being defensive as things are said, they would see us stand like men. You know, anyone can just be defensive, like just stand like men in front of them, not blame the players, but work hand in hand with them. And we expected to come here and win the football game. We expected to win. And so I say this, to me, it's so hard because you don't want it to sound like a moral victory because we lost, and we're not here to lose. We're the University of Nebraska. We're not here to lose. But in terms of the development and growth of what you're trying to build, because while the world and everyone wants things to happen quickly, if you want it to be sustainable, if you want it to last forever, you have to do it the right way. I get asked a lot of questions about, why aren't we doing it this way, that way? We're trying to build something sustainable. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Who knows? A lot of you guys have seen a lot of guys come here try to do it and it hasn't worked. So I'm trying it a different way. I was proud of that football team today. I was proud. They didn't back down. They had some really tough breaks. They had some things really go against them, even the way we started. And they competed. It's the first time since I've been here that I felt a championship mindset in the locker room. Along with the championship mindset, as those who compete know, comes utter disappointment when you lose. So that part's hard. It's hard for the guys. But I saw a group of guys, even at the very end, take the field, going out there to make one more play. have a chance to compete against one of the best teams in the country. So I thought they grew up. I challenged them. It better look this way next week. Some of the football still's tough. It's hard. You're literally, you can have some of our administrators that hear me on the field. I'm still, you got some young guys out there. You're still coaching things out there in the middle of the game that in a year or two you hope that it's second nature. It's just what it is. But for those of us who believe in the long way, the hard way, for those of us who haven't had things handed to us, for those of us who believe in building, for those people who believe in putting in an honest day's work, like I hope while they're disappointed, they're proud of what they saw, of what they competed. And while I yelled at the officials sometimes and all that, our players didn't let it bother them. Our players just continued to compete. Thought we played with class and dignity. We had a chance to win. So I know that's long. I know it's hard. I don't say that to justify what we're doing. I'm saying that so our players will understand why I'm so proud. Not satisfied. That's very, very, very important. There are no moral victories, but proud. But proud.
But proud. I think that's telling. And I mean, if that doesn't prove that Matt Rule is building something here and fire you up a little bit for today's game, then what are we doing? And Jake, obviously, results do matter. Today's game is very important, but let's take a quick second to reflect on maybe what Coach said, something that maybe stuck out to you from that presser.
From that press conference, I think just patience, right? He's saying very, like he mentioned, he's trying to build something here. We can't forget that Rule signed a 7-year contract.
Yeah.
I know Husker fans have been longing for success for a winning football team. They've been through 3 head coaches, obviously, in the past 8 years. I think Rule's going to stick around here, and I think fans need to buy in and to invest.
Absolutely. And hey, as we approach kickoff in just a few hours, it's time we bring in Jessica Blum for our first look at our forecast.
Yeah, appreciate it, Nate and Jake. In terms of the weather, we're certainly keeping a close eye on this one. It's an honor to join you guys here this morning, leading up to the game later on today. We hung tough with Ohio State last week, but now UCLA comes to Memorial Stadium for a big one as we look to go bowling. And weather may have an impact to this one. Rain chances increasing by the afternoon hours. We've already seen the cloud cover kind of increase so far this morning, and there's going to be a cooling breeze out of the south and east that picks up. We know the winds can feel a little bit stronger within Memorial Stadium as well, so you'll maybe need to pack the extra rain gear, maybe an extra layer even underneath some of those ponchos and things like that as the cooler temperatures stick around as well. So kind of some rain-cooled air in the area, if you will. But scattered showers and thunderstorms basically off to our south and west throughout the late morning hours will spread to the north and east, in and around Lincoln by noon, and especially in and around game time at 2:30 with kickoff. And then the rain chances are still there going into and throughout this game. By the end of the fourth quarter, still some rain in the area. We'll have to keep an eye on the lightning, but then we get a break into Saturday night. But factoring in the cloud cover, the cool breeze out of the south and east, and temperatures in the upper 50s, it's going to be a cooler feeling game. So certainly take that into account. Again, we're taking on UCLA at 2:30, and the temperatures, don't think it'll be a washout anymore, but think temperatures in the upper 50s will certainly feel cool for now. For Nate and Jake, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Jessica. I don't know about you, Jake, but a little chilly football never win anybody, steer anybody wrong. I mean, that's just football with them, all right?
100%, yeah.
Well, hey, we got plenty more to get into with UCLA, the first meeting between both schools since 2015. Much more ahead on our hometown showdown battle with the Bruins. When we come back, we dive into some numbers and more to recap the Huskers matchup with the Buckeyes.
MAGA alert. President Trump wants you to vote for Deb Fischer.
Vote for Deb Fischer. She has my complete and total endorsement.
Deb Fischer for U.S. Senate.
I'm Deb Fischer, and I approve this message.
Join Deb Fischer's team. Give today.
State legislators are playing games with our children's education. The legislature's school voucher bill spends $100 million on private schools over 10 years, which could force cuts at public schools to pay for it, leading to larger class sizes, less resources, lower teacher pay, and higher property taxes with no accountability. The legislature's school voucher bill fails our kids. Vote repeal on Measure 435.
Pete Ricketts, cut our taxes.
Big time.
And provided billions in property tax relief.
Pete deployed forces to the border and always backs the blue.
He kept businesses open.
And got kids back in school.
Now Pete's fighting just as hard in the Senate as he did as governor.
And he's giving them hell for Nebraska.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
Our Senator, Pete Ricketts.
I'm Pete Ricketts, and I approve this message.
Don't miss the early birdie sale for your 2025 Big Red Golf Tour books for unforgettable golfing experiences across the state. Pre-order yours at BigRedGolfTours.com this Friday through Sunday and save an additional 25% and buy 3, get the 4th free.
So what do you think about these?
We're going to take everything down to the stud.
From design and products to removal and installation,
It turned out amazing.
Rebath is with you through every step of your remodel. Call or visit our showroom for your free design consultation.
MAGA alert. President Trump wants you to vote for Deb Fischer.
Vote for Deb Fischer. She has my complete and total endorsement.
Deb Fischer for U.S. Senate.
I'm Deb Fischer, and I approve this message.
Join Deb Fischer's team. Give today.
Well, welcome back to our Channel 8 studios. Nate Johnson, Jake Holman joining you ahead of this matchup with UCLA. And Jake, let's break down last week's game a little bit further.
Yeah, I think when you look back at it, I know we mentioned this earlier, of course, Nebraska had a fantastic second half to that game. After trailing 14-6 going into the break, this team came out with something to prove on defense in the third quarter, holding Ohio State scoreless while putting up 3 points themselves. Of course, in the fourth, both teams scored, but Nebraska going for 2 and converting it, scored 11-7 second half favor of the Huskers to end the game. Obviously coming up just short, but when I took a look back at what the players had to say following it, I think MJ Sherman's response to the loss really hits the mark on what the fans want to see from the Huskers the rest of the season.
You know, we got a working man's mindset. We don't back down for nobody. So we just went in there and tried to make a name for ourselves. So we got 2 avenues that we can go from this loss, right? We can sit here and sulk, or we can sit here and grow from it. And right now, like, I'm pretty sure in our locker room, in our football team, and the coaches staff, and players included, I feel like we on the path to grow from it. Yeah, we was that close.
And look, I'm a man that loves numbers, right? Looking at a few of the stats here, you can clearly see how close that game was. Nebraska, 7 more first downs, more rushing yards, and 12 yards behind Ohio State in total offense. And one thing we haven't mentioned yet about, how about 3 for 3 on the field goals? Nebraska fans love to see that. Now Ohio State, though, 0 for 1. Nebraska certainly doing a lot of things well last Saturday, right, Nate?
Yeah, you're so right, Jake. And it felt like this game was just a few plays away from going the Huskers' way. You think about that 4th down stop on the 2-yard line, and that could have been points. More on that and a couple other plays in a bit. But like I said, last week's game, and we talked about in the pregame show, one big thing that you touched on a little bit already, the resurgence of the run game for the Huskers needed to happen, which was such a welcome sight. You saw Nebraska going for 121 rushing yards and a touchdown. Ohio State, just 64 yards. Nebraska, once again, did not let up a rushing touchdown. That was going to be huge. It was stressed all week from Coach Rule and offensive coordinator Marcus Satterfield, the importance of getting back to that, and they did. Ohio State is the 6th best rushing defense in college football, only allowing an average of 91.3 yards per game. Dante Dowdell went for 14 carries, 60 yards, and a touchdown, while Dylan Raiola went for 9 carries and 31 yards himself. Emmett Johnson, 8 carries for 30 yards. All this without Ramir Johnson. And here was the Husker QB and senior right on Raiola's rushing performance.
I was thinking about that in the game. I was like, oh yeah, he finna be out there like Michael Vick next week. Like he for sure, he definitely, I know he's gonna be doing a little bit more moving around, and he knows he can do it now. And that's the thing when you have like a younger quarterback, like it's just him getting out there and getting those reps. Like he running all over the field. Now he knows like he has that ability. And I saw it from the beginning that he had that ability, but now that he's done it, especially against a team like Ohio State, definitely is gonna be something that defenses in the future are gonna have to worry about.
Yeah, there was a play I remember from Indiana. It was a 3rd and 4. Moved up in pocket, scrambled left, and turned back, throw it to Ramir, and threw it on the ground. But saw that I could have ran him for the first down. But yeah, I think sometimes I underestimate myself of running and doing that stuff. But yeah, it's fun. I honestly didn't expect to get out in the open and be that wide open. But yeah, it was good. It was good for people to see.
Let's take a look at Dylan Raiola's stats last week. They weren't his usual numbers, sitting at 152 through the air and 39 on the ground and a pick. But man, sometimes I think a lot of people forget he is a true freshman who's already thrown for over 1,700 yards this season and 9 touchdowns. He can flat out ball, and I expect him to come firing on all cylinders later today. And Jake, another big factor from last week's game, well, the referees. And I usually we stay away from this topic, especially, but the Big Ten officially releasing a statement on one of their missed calls this past Saturday.
Yeah, and earlier this week, the Big Ten Conference released a statement on an officiating mistake in the Huskers-Buckeye game, saying, quote, during Nebraska's final drive of the first half on second down with 2 yards to gain on the Ohio State 39-yard line, the ball was incorrectly spotted after a run by Cornhuskers running back Emmett Johnson. The ball carrier crossed the 37-yard line, and the first down should have been rewarded to the Huskers. Replay, though, shows it should have stopped the game to review the spot since it involved the line to gain. And here is head coach Matt Rhule's thoughts on that decision.
Man. The officials have to adjust. Well, we have to adjust. And all of a sudden you get into a game like this and all this stuff happens. So I appreciate the transparency. I do want to make sure everyone understands the way where I stand, though. I advocate for the officials. I think we should let them call the game, and it shouldn't be all this. It shouldn't change as much as it does based upon this and that. We should just let them call the games and live with the result, right? Like we live with the players' result.
Tough stuff there. It's tough. Being on one hand, being a ref is so difficult. You got to make these split decision calls in real time, and the fans demand excellence. But at the same time, a big missed call there that could have shifted momentum for the Huskers.
Yeah, I think it's great that the Big Ten shows accountability and is willing to admit, the mistake there. But I feel like sometimes when referees and officials after the game admit they messed up after the fact, there's nothing else that could be done, right? The call can't be changed, the outcome can't be different. So I can see why that announcement could rub fans the wrong way, certainly. But hey, we got so much more to come to. Just after the break, we hear from the players leading up to today's matchup with the Bruins. Up next.
Grown and produced in Nebraska, James Arthur award-winning wines offer the finest table wines, from dry reds to sweet, crisp whites. Visit our tasting room at the From Nebraska gift shop, our winery in Raymond, or find us at your local grocer or bottle shop.
1918, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the war to end all wars. But the antagonist to peace did not subside. We must never forget to honor our veterans who chose to fight for our freedom and offer them the love and compassion that a warrior has earned. To this, we have 2 words: thank you.
I'm Dan Osborne, and I approve this message. The only time we've seen Deb Fisher in years is on her TV ads, lying about me. Deb Fisher just lies about the border, Social Security, and the deficit. The only person messing with your Social Security is Deb Fisher. I've been a registered independent my whole entire life. This is why normal people don't run for office. This is why people hate politics. This makes you want to cut your TV in half.
Planning a new accessory building project? Get on the list now for 2025 with MWR Building and Fence. MWR specializes in steel and post-frame buildings. Your investment is built to last. Get a quote at MWRbuildingandfence.com.
Dan Osborne thinks you're stupid. Seen this?
Social Security to illegals? Who would be for that?
Well, the answer is Dan Osborne.
Just give him a damn Social Security card already.
And listen to this BS.
I'm where President Trump is.
But Trump's not with Dan.
We want somebody that's going to be strong, powerful, and great for our country. And it's not going to be Dan Osborne.
Lying Dan Osborne, a rubber stamp for the Biden-Harris agenda.
I'm Deb Fisher, and I approve this message.
Join Deb Fisher's team. Give today.
Now is a great time to pre-order your 2025 Nebraska Brewery and Winery Pass, your ticket to fun. This Friday through Sunday, take advantage of the early bird special. Buy one, get one free. Perfect holiday gifts. Go to NebraskaBreweryandWineryPass.com.
Game day is upon us, football fans. Come on down to From Nebraska in the heart of the Haymarket to enjoy your selection of wine, beer, cider, and cocktails.
And while you're here, sip and shop for all your Nebraska gear and gifts. We've got that too. From Nebraska, 8 and Q.
And welcome back into us for our hometown showdown pregame show. ahead of this game with UCLA. Jake, the players certainly gave me the feeling that they want this one against UCLA.
Yeah, look, we heard from the team earlier this week. They seem to have a new fire under them, and that could be because of how well they played against Ohio State. Of course, new confidence, if you will. But don't take it from me. Here was the team this week leading up to today's matchup against the Bruins.
Yeah, we know it's important to get that 6th win. And, you know, I think, you know, we all want the same thing. But to, like, answer your question, how we're going to keep that mentality is, like, just focusing on one game, like, and not, like, trying to jump ahead in the weeks or, you know, overlooking, you know, an opponent or that type of deal. That kind of already happened to us this year. And, you know, and that starts this week. So I'm going to treat, you know, the same great game preparation I did for last week against Ohio State, against the UCLA Bruins. And I know the rest of the guys are going to do that as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's always room to improve. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, like the 3 passing plays at the end of the day, like we still want to eliminate those. And, yeah, we went against, you know, those are some pretty good players. But we have good players too, you know. So I know that we can compete with whoever's lined up across from us. So I think instead of it being like a confidence booster, it's more of like just a confirmer of what we're capable of.
Yeah, I think just overall as an entire offense, we just executed very well. I just did a great job with our assignments and played pretty physical. And then when you execute, good things are going to happen in the run game. So I think that was a big thing.
Yeah, I before practice actually heard someone say there haven't been a bowl game in 8 years or something like that. So I think giving the fans a guaranteed one more game, possibly more being in the playoffs, would mean a lot to this fan base. And they've been through a lot and they've been really loyal to everybody. So, yeah, it'd mean a lot to everybody to get to a bowl game. And I think just the focus of trying to win this week and this week only and, get the 6 wins.
You know, what's dangerous about this game is, like, UCLA has nothing to lose compared to as we were last year against Michigan State, trying to get that 6-game win. So there's a lot of things that we've learned. Basically, kind of what I said earlier is just, you know, focusing on them, making sure, you know, we learn everything we can about them, that game preparation, and going out there and not really, you know, playing their record, but playing them as the men they are, as the guys they are, and as the team they are.
And Nate, just like Ty said there, we all know, football fans know, of course, right? The one team you don't want to face is a team that's got nothing to lose. And the UCLA could be a team like that for the Huskers, so they'll have to keep their head on the swivel and not overlook this hungry Bruins team.
Absolutely, and they're playing well, coming off a win against the Rutgers. But hey, don't go anywhere. We're coming up. We bring in one of our own, former KLKN sports director Larry Putney. Joins the show. Stay with us.
Dan Osborne thinks you're stupid. Seen this?
Social Security to illegals? Who would be for that?
Well, the answer is Dan Osborne.
Just give him a damn Social Security card already.
And listen to this BS.
I'm where President Trump is.
But Trump's not with Dan.
We want somebody that's going to be strong, powerful, and great for our country. And it's not going to be Dan Osborne.
Lying Dan Osborne, a rubber stamp for the Biden-Harris agenda.
I'm Deb Fisher, and I approve this message.
Join Deb Fisher's team. Give today.
Why Neiman & Sons? For over 40 years, Neiman & Sons has been installing quality exterior products, specializing in residential and commercial roofing, siding, gutters, windows, and halo lighting. You can count on us to get the job done right the first time. Neiman & Sons appreciates our community, and we are a proud sponsor of Lincoln Youth Football. Don't trust your exterior work to just anyone. Choose local. Choose Neiman & Sons.
Dan Osborne supports illegal immigrants.
There definitely needs to be a clear path to citizenship.
And that means giving amnesty to 11 million illegal immigrants already in the U.S. Osborne also wants to give them Social Security. He sounds like his Democrat friends.
We can create an earned pathway to citizenship.
A pathway to citizenship.
A path toward citizenship.
A clear path to citizenship.
Dan Osborne and friends, not here in Nebraska. Senate Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's open border policies have allowed millions of illegal immigrants into our country. Suspects on the terrorist watch list. And deadly fentanyl, the leading killer of our young people. It's a national security catastrophe.
Conservative fighter Pete Ricketts.
That's why I'm fighting for my plan to build a wall, reinstate the Remain in Mexico policy, and strengthen our border patrol. No excuses. It's time to secure the border. I'm Pete Ricketts, and I approve this message.
All right, and welcome back. A big welcome and thank you to former KLKN Sports Director Larry Putney for joining Nate and I on the show here. Larry, can you quick remind us, what being sports director was like back here then, and what was the Husker football team covering like them back then?
Yeah, 26 years later, thanks for the invitation back. This is awesome. Yeah, it's good to be here. We were coming off the heydays of Nebraska football, right? So the station began April 1st, 96. So we had just come off the 95 national title, so a lot of excitement. Strangely enough, it was literally 17 days later after we went on the air that Brooke Behringer died in the plane crash. So that was the first big Husker event that we called. And then, of course, the first year of Nebraska football here was 96. A lot of hype. Scott Frost was the new quarterback. Ahman Green was a running back. Went down to Arizona State, lost 19-0. And we got to travel, like I'm sure you guys do. So that was a lot of fun. But the thought was back then you lose a game, it's almost the season's over, right?
Sure, yeah.
So, but they ran the table up until Texas in the Big 12 championship game. But then I think the next year was really the fun year. That was 97. The last national championship that Tom won, and then Tom ends up retiring after the season. But yeah, those were some fun days. And went out to Washington, beat number 2 Washington, so that was fun to go out and cover that. They were number 1 for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then they had the miracle in Missouri, the kick from Shevin Wiggins that Matt Davison caught. They dropped to number 3, slowly creeped their way back up, beat Peyton Manning in the Orange Bowl, right at Tennessee, and then Scott Frost makes the plea on national television that how do you not give Tom Osborne a national championship? And of course they split it with Michigan. So great, yeah, they were a lot of fun times back.
All right, Larry, we got a lot to talk about here, of course. So I want to take you talk about the games. I appreciate you. But we want to start with Indiana. Larry, can you give us a little insight on what maybe went wrong for the Huskers 2 weeks ago in Bloomington?
Yeah, I think they just got away from who they were, right? I mean, Nebraska is a team that stops the run. The big guys up front, and I don't know if I'm a big fan of Joel Klatt, and Joel Klatt had Tony White on his show, and I think Tony White said to Joel, he said, that's never going to happen again, right? Like they literally had schemed to stop this quick passing game and the RPO stuff, and didn't stop the run, and I think that was the difference in that game. I mean, you give up that many points to an Indiana team, it's going to be hard to stay in it. But I think the good news is that they learned a lot from that game, right?
Yes,
so.
Moving on to last week, of course, a much better showing against Ohio State. What went well, what needs to work, and what are some things you took away from last week?
Well, I think what went well is, Ohio State averaged 2.1 yards per carry, right? So obviously they changed that in a big way. I think what concerns me and what we saw is a lot of this. A lot of short game from Dylan Raiola. How many times do we see Dylan really go downfield and take a chance? Yeah. And if you go back to that first half where Dylan kind of got punched once in the shoulder and that shoulder hung and he walked off and everybody thought, did he get driven to the ground? Was it really hurt? I wonder if he doesn't have some sort of shoulder injury that nobody really knows about. We're going to find out after the season because we have not seen over the last 2 or 3 games him really going deep downfield. It's been a lot of, we haven't gone horizontal. We've done a lot of vertical stuff, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and later today, an opportunity to knock off some goals here for the Huskers against UCLA. Larry, what does Nebraska need to do to take down the Bruins this afternoon and become bowl eligible for the first time since 2016?
2016, it's crazy to even think that. I think if we see Dylan come out and go deep early, I think that's a really good sign. It means, that there's nothing wrong there. At least he's recovered enough from that. But I think Garbers, this guy, he loves the short passing game. Sure. And the benefit we have is UCLA doesn't even pretend to run, right? 25, they run it 25 times a game. So I think if the defense can really be stout, shut down the running game, and then really focus on kind of that outside path, I think they're going to be successful. I think we're going to have a hard time running the ball against UCLA, but there's at least there's an opportunity there.
Absolutely. And Larry, real quick, we have a little surprise for you. Rod Fowler sending this in last night to us, and we thought we'd give you this on air, but how about that guy right there? Come on, Larry and Rod back in the day.
Holy cow.
You like that pic?
That is old school right there. Thanks for pointing out how much weight I've gained.
Oh, man.
That's awesome.
That's some sweet hair, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. And Larry, thanks again so much for joining us.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks very much, guys. It's great being back.
Absolutely. Hey, when we come back, we got plenty more action. Husker fans getting ready for game day. Check in with Mackenzie Johnson and Christina Dant coming your way right after the break.
Don't miss the early birdie sale for your 2025 Big Red Golf Tour books for unforgettable golfing experiences across the state. Pre-order yours at BigRedGolfTours.com this Friday through Sunday and save an additional 25% and buy 3, get the 4th free.
At Synergy Home Care of Lincoln, we honor those who have bravely served our nation.
We understand the importance of supporting our veterans. We're proud to partner with the Veterans Administration to offer care tailored to the unique needs of our heroes. The VA and Synergy Home Care are here to help you maintain your independence. Contact Synergy Home Care of Lincoln today to learn more.
Dan Osborne thinks you're stupid. Seen this?
Social Security to illegals? Who would be for that?
Well, the answer is Dan Osborne.
Just give him a damn Social Security card already.
And listen to this BS.
I'm where President Trump is.
But Trump's not with Dan.
We want somebody that's going to be strong, powerful, and great for our country. And it's not going to be Dan Osborne.
Lion Dan Osborne, a rubber stamp for the Biden-Harris agenda.
I'm Deb Fisher, and I approve this message.
Join Deb Fisher's team. Give today.
Nebraska is a great place to raise families, and I've worked hard to keep it that way. I'm Deb Fisher. In the Senate, I've passed infrastructure bills, supported our troops and police, and fought against open borders. I also passed the first ever paid family medical leave law and opposed reckless spending. This fall, I'm asking for your vote to keep building a stronger Nebraska. I'm Deb Fisher, and I approve this message.
Join Deb Fisher's team. Give today.
Deb Fisher stabbed Donald Trump in the back.
X said he should drop out of the race.
Deb Fisher, just another creature of the D.C. swamp.
Deb Fisher has more in common with Hillary Clinton than Donald Trump. I'm voting for Dan Osborne.
Dan Osborne. Dan Osborne.
And Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Osborne's with Trump on China, the border, and draining the swamp.
This finger is voting for Trump, and this one is for sending Washington a message with Dan Osborne.
I'm Dan Osborne, and I approve this message.
I think this is my favorite. Okay. What do you think of this one? Oh, is this going to be ready in time for the baby?
From design and products to removal and installation, Rebat is with you through every step of your remodel. Call or visit our showroom for your free design consultation.
And welcome back into our hometown showdown battle with the Bruins. Nate, I believe it's about time to check in with our own Mackenzie Johnson, right?
That's right. We're going to check in with Mackenzie, who joins us now live. Mackenzie, how are the fans reacting to this game?
Oh, hey, Nate and Jake. Glad to have you guys all here with me. I'm actually here with Chris. We're down here in the end zone right now. Things are really starting to pick up. A lot of music, but a lot of fans out here excited for the game. Chris, I know you said you're not from Nebraska. What made you want to come up here for this game?
I'll tell you what, we got a bunch of boys here from Wichita, Kansas. Brought them up, several of them. Haven't even been to a Husker game yet. I'm a Husker at heart. Got them up here, got them wearing red. Had a good time last night. Gonna get a victory today.
That's right. I know we've had a tough couple of last weeks, but maybe some momentum building with that Ohio State game. What are some things you want to see from the players today?
Well, I think the black shirt's going to come and bring it. And definitely got to get the offense rolling. Dylan's going to get there. Got the home crowd. Bowl eligible, first time in 9 years. It's history today. We're going to make it, and we're going to cover, and we're going to win some cheese.
I think so. And what are you excited for if we were to make a bowl game? What are some things you would be excited to watch with that?
Finally watch meaningful football and a bowl game. So it'll be nice and host a big game, maybe even go to the bowl game this year.
That'd be pretty awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris. And thank you all for joining us. I'm going to toss it back to Nate and Jake, and go Big Red.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mackenzie. And you hear it right there from the fan. He believes history will be made today, right?
I like it. He's got the boys out here. They're ready to roll. Come on. I'm fired up, and we're fired up. And a lot of people out tailgating right now. Let's check in with our lifestyle reporter, Christina Dan, who is out talking with fans and out about in Lincoln. Christina, how are we doing out there? And thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. I am here right outside of Memorial Stadium. I am here with Rick because he has a pretty cool tailgate. Rick, tell us about your tailgate.
Thank you. It's an old ambulance we converted into a tailgate machine.
All right, so what is the story behind this bad boy?
The stretcher came with the ambulance, and we use it to medicate the fans.
Fans need medicating? Okay, yes. Okay. Let's walk on over here. Okay. We've got a Cornhusker
keg cooler. Yeah, the ambulance fits 3 kegs.
Tell me a little bit about when did you get started? How did this all become?
This is our 20th year doing it. It just started out as we were going to make a trailer with a cooler and a grill on it, and it kind of snowballed from there.
It looks like a pretty cool place to be. Now, Rick has a secret. We're going to take you on over to what I think might be the coolest part of the tailgate. Are you ready?
Sure.
Let's go. Come on over. So I'm going to have to, we got wires here. So in the porta potty,
We have a TV just so you don't miss any of the game.
there is no missing any. Oh, there I am. There I am. You can't miss anything here. It's a good time. We've had a good time. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Stay tuned. Here we go. We're gonna. Oh, actually, we're gonna check out the food. We've got more fun. So, do we get to stay for lunch?
You bet.
For breakfast.
We cook our own red corn chips, and we have dips and hot dogs and everything that you could have.
So, what time do you have to wake up to get all of this going?
We actually bring it down the night before and then come down about 7 in the morning to set up.
7 in the morning, and who cooks for you?
2 of the guys that own it were former chefs, so we do all of our own cooking.
So a fun place, good food, TV. We've got it perfect right here in this location. Thank you so much, Rick. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
All right, thanks so much, Christina. TV in the Porta-John? Are you kidding me?
I've never seen something like that. That's pretty dang cool.
That is what I am talking about. And hey, don't go anywhere. We got more coming your way. Joining us, Sports Director, Nebraska Nightly, Trey Marler is going to join us on the desk here at Channel 8. Stick with us.
Grown and produced in Nebraska, James Arthur award-winning wines offer the finest table wines, from dry reds to sweet, crisp whites. Visit our tasting room at the From Nebraska gift shop, our winery in Raymond, or find us at your local grocer or bottle shop.
State legislators are playing games with our children's education. The legislature's school voucher bill spends $100 million on private schools over 10 years, which could force cuts at public schools to pay for it, leading to larger class sizes, less resources, lower teacher pay, and higher property taxes with no accountability. The legislature's school voucher bill fails our kids. Vote repeal on Measure 435.
Nebraska, it's time to get off the bench.
Out-of-state activists are pushing a radical amendment, Initiative 439.
It destroys protections for women and children.
439 outlaws parental notification for minors.
It makes women vulnerable to pressure and coercion.
And 439 would force taxpayer funding of abortions.
Get in the game.
Get in the game.
Get in the game.
Get in the game.
Vote for Initiative 434.
And no on 439. No on 9. No on 9. No on 9. That's 4-4 and no on 9.
Dan Osborne thinks you're stupid. Seen this?
Social Security to illegals? Who would be for that?
Well, the answer is Dan Osborne.
Just give him a damn Social Security card already.
And listen to this BS.
I'm where President Trump is.
But Trump's not with Dan.
We want somebody that's going to be strong, powerful, and great for our country. And it's not going to be Dan Osborne.
Lion Dan Osborne, a rubber stamp for the Biden-Harris agenda.
I'm Deb Fisher, and I approve this message.
Join Deb Fisher's team. Give today.
Game day is upon us, football fans. Come on down to From Nebraska in the heart of the Haymarket to enjoy your selection of wine, beer, cider, and cocktails.
And while you're here, sip and shop for all your Nebraska gear and gifts. We've got that too. From Nebraska, 8 and Q.
And thank you so much for joining us back here on our hometown showdown battle with the Bruins. And how about it's time to bring in Nebraska's very own Nebraska Nightly, very own sports director Trey Marler from Nebraska Nightly. Trey, thank you so much for taking the time with us. Let's go ahead and dive right into it, right? Talking about this season so far, what are some things come to your mind about this team? Have they met expectations?
I would say, with Nebraska fans, it's tough to meet the expectations for this fan base. But, the thing I like about this team so far is the gradual progress. The team that took the field against UTEP is not the team we saw against Ohio State. And that's what Matt Rule, Marcus Satterfield, Tony White, these guys are getting better every week, and especially Dylan Morello. We've seen him grow so much as a true freshman. I think that's what I've liked so far is you definitely see, they're doing stuff during the week. These teams are getting better and better, and we get them back home this week after almost a month on the road back in Memorial Stadium this afternoon. Should be an awesome time over there in Lincoln.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you think of the offense so far this season, we've seen quite the progression. Kind of like you said, not the team that started the season against UTEP, but what have you liked so far in the offense?
I've liked how they've kind of started to find an identity on the ground game, especially last week. You talked about it earlier, because like against Indiana and even against Illinois, the ground game really wasn't there, and especially the passing game as well. I mean, we see right here Isaiah Nayo over the middle of a touchdown. I mean, Dylan Raiola, he's established himself as QB1. He's came in, he's not looked like a true freshman. I think we can all agree on that. He stepped up, he's managed this offense extremely well, and I think he just rose to the occasion and he's led this team in their one win away from their first bowl game since 2016. I mean, he's came into the town, kind of took the hands of this offense and really kind of ran with it.
Yeah, and taking a look at the other side of the ball here, Trey, of course, the identity of this Husker team really has been reliant on this defensive front and really everyone on that defense. What are your thoughts so far on that team this year?
I think when we all came in, they were expected to be really good. They have a lot of veterans, obviously Ty Robinson, Nash Hutmaker, John Bullock, Deshaun Singleton. They brought guys back, but I think what surprised me is their ability their pass coverage. We all think coming in, we knew they could stop the run, but I mean, they have an interception in the last 4 games. So, I mean, they've come in and they've really especially last week versus Ohio State, we saw Will Howard, they shut down all those guys, and just their pass coverage has really surprised me, because we knew coming in, their run game was going to be phenomenal, and the step of the pass coverage as well. That's kind of what surprised me so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said there, the defense has stepped up in a big way, and we saw that against Ohio State, especially when we look back at that Indiana game. We had some questions there maybe, but to see them perform against Ohio State, really important. Trey, any final thoughts here against this game against UCLA?
I'm just excited. I mean, we got a little Big Ten football weather. I kind of woke up this morning, it was a little brisk. I was like, I'm glad I'm wearing my coat. It's a little chilly. So I'm just excited. I mean, we obviously want the rain to stay away, but I mean, if it gets a little rain, I mean, UCLA, they throw the ball a little bit. If you get a little rain, well, maybe not. We'll just kind of let it happen. We'll see. So I'm really excited. We finally have some football weather over here in Lincoln, so it should be really awesome afternoon over Memorial Stadium.
And once again, man, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Yeah. We'll probably see you out there in the field, right?
I'll be there. I'll be there.
Okay. All right, once again, thank you so much, Trey. And when we come back, of course, we'll have our Christina Dant joining us in for a second time on the show to bring us much more action and happening at the tailgates. We'll be right back.
I know at Deb Fisher, we've had her for years.
All she wants to do is keep her job so she can keep making millions.
There are hundreds of millionaires in Congress. How about one mechanic?
Retired Career Politicians PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Dan Osborne thinks you're stupid. Seen this?
Social Security to illegals? Who would be for that?
Well, the answer is Dan Osborne.
Just give him a damn Social Security card already.
And listen to this BS.
I'm where President Trump is.
But Trump's not with Dan.
We want somebody that's going to be strong, powerful, and great for our country. And it's not going to be Dan Osborne.
Lion Dan Osborne, a rubber stamp for the Biden-Harris agenda.
I'm Deb Fisher, and I approve this message.
Join Deb Fisher's team. Give today.
1918, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the war to end all wars. But the antagonists to peace did not subside. We must never forget to honor our veterans who chose to fight for our freedom and offer them the love and compassion that a warrior has earned. To this, we have 2 words. Thank you.
This Veterans Day, we invite you to join us at the Lakin Veterans Parade.
We will be honoring all those who have served and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
As a Gold Star mother, I will be there to honor the memory of my son, Corporal Dagan Page. Join us in showing gratitude to our veterans.
Together, we'll honor the sacrifices and service of our veterans. Come out on November 10th at 2 p.m.
Dan Osborne served this country, just like me.
Like me.
Like me.
Like me.
Dan's a Navy vet.
Nebraska National Guard.
Dan Osborne knows what it means to serve. Politician Deb Fisher has only ever served herself.
Broke her pledge on term limits.
Played politics while our troops paid the price.
Now, the billionaire and D.C. crowd are lying
about Osborne.
Well, this vet values service over politics.
I'm Dan Osborne, and I approve this message. I'll never forget who I serve.
Deb Fisher killed the bipartisan border bill. All she wants to do is keep her job so she can keep making millions. It's time to try something different. They've got hundreds of millionaires in Congress. How about one mechanic?
Retired Career Politicians PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
And welcome back in with Jake and I as we continue to preview this matchup with UCLA. And joining us once again, our lifestyle reporter, Christina Dant. Christina, how are we doing with those Husker fans as we near game time?
Christina Dant, and we are here still outside of Memorial Stadium. All right, so who am I with?
Hey, I'm Corey.
And I'm Dana. And they have a pretty cool tailgate. So this is an ambulance.
Yeah, this is Bonesy Ambulance. We're a tailgating group of 6 couples. We've been tailgating out of ambulances for 6 years, so this is our second version of an ambulance, and we've been tailgating together for about 5 or 6 years before that.
So your second ambulance, what was the first?
Well, the first ambulance had a short life. It didn't start on the last game of its last year, so we got rid of it and upgraded to this one.
Yeah, it kind of started and ended with the Scott Frost era.
I mean, all good things come to an end, right? All right, so on a tour? Yeah, no, please give us a tour. Tell me this wall, first off. Let's see if you guys can see.
This is our wall of fame. These are past Huskers. We have all kinds of different, all sports, not just football. And then our daughter was a world champion in gymnastics, so she's up there too. So
heck yeah!
Yeah, there you go. So this is where we bring everything every week.
All right, can you see inside there? I'm gonna do the commentating here. I got the mic, but you guys have a beautiful setup in here. I see some off spray, so you're using it year round.
Yeah, and then go that way. Corey will take you on over and show you all that stuff.
All right, we're gonna go see Corey right now. Corey, this is fascinating that you own your very own.
We do. We have a hot dog roller. It's our second version of a hot dog roller. We've decided that, the greatest thing about tailgates is hot dogs and having a good time. So it works out perfect for us.
I have a very important question. Do I get a hot dog when we are done with the interview?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. What else do we have here? We've got lots of food. Oh, okay. Hold on here. We're running around. We're not going to trip on our mic cord.
Here's Bonesy.
Come on. It's called Bonesy Ambulance.
Bonesy Ambulance, yep. And then we have a full field up there. It's all turfed. And everybody can climb up there and get a picture. Maybe you guys can end up there.
All right. I think I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to have a hot dog, climb to the top. Back to you guys. Go Big Red. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Go Big Red indeed. Thank you,
We're sticking
Christina.
around. We're going to hang out.
Can I get a hot dog?
I think I need to get a hot dog after this. Hot dog roller signatures from Huskers. I mean, pretty cool tailgates. Thanks so much to Christina for doing that, checking out some wonderful tailgates. And I got to say, I'm excited to honestly get a hot dog a little bit later.
Yeah, well, and plenty more, of course, too. But of course, game time just a few hours away. So let's take another look at our weather before we get to the game. So, Jessica.
Yeah, appreciate it, Nate and Jake. In terms of the weather, we're certainly keeping a close eye on this one. It's an honor to join you guys here this morning, leading up to the game later on today. We hung tough with Ohio State last week, but now UCLA comes to Memorial Stadium for a big one as we look to go bowling. And weather may have an impact to this one. Rain chances increasing by the afternoon hours. We've already seen the cloud cover kind of increase so far this morning, and there's going to be a cooling breeze out of the south and east that picks up. We know the winds can feel a little bit stronger within Memorial Stadium as well, so you'll maybe need to pack the extra rain gear, maybe an extra layer even underneath some of those ponchos and things like that as the cooler temperatures stick around as well. So kind of some rain-cooled air in the area, if you will. But scattered showers and thunderstorms, basically off to our south and west throughout the late morning hours, will spread to the north and east, in and around Lincoln by noon, and especially in and around game time at 2:30 with kickoff. And then the rain chances are still there going into and throughout this game. By the end of the fourth quarter, still some rain in the area. We'll have to keep an eye on the lightning, but then we get a break into Saturday night. But factoring in the cloud cover, the cool breeze out of the south and east, and temperatures in the upper 50s, it's going to be a cooler feeling game. So certainly take that into account. Again, we're taking on UCLA at 2:30, and the temperatures, don't think it'll be a washout anymore, but think temperatures in the upper 50s will certainly feel cool for now. For Nate and Jake, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Jessica. Football weather, I am looking forward to it. A big matchup coming up. Hey, stick with us. Jake and I talk UCLA stats, predictions, bowl game thoughts, and more before wrapping up the show. We'll be right back.
This is Tom Osborne, and for me, Sunday mornings are a special time for family, faith, and community. Research shows that attending church regularly can lead to a longer, happier life with reduced depression and faster recovery from illness. By making Sunday mornings a priority, you'll experience a sense of hope, purpose, and belonging. Embrace the benefits of worship and keep your Sunday mornings open for this meaningful connection. Please join me and attend the church of your choice this Sunday morning.
Dan Osborne thinks you're stupid. Seen this?
Social Security to illegals? Who would be for that?
Well, the answer is Dan Osborne.
Just give him a damn Social Security card already.
And listen to this BS.
I'm where President Trump is.
But Trump's not with Dan.
We want somebody that's going to be strong, powerful, and great for our country. And it's not going to be Dan Osborne.
Lion Dan Osborne, a rubber stamp for the Biden-Harris agenda.
I'm Deb Fisher, and I approve this message.
Join Deb Fisher's team. Give today.
China is our enemy, plain and simple. The Chinese Communist Party hacks our computers, buys up land near military bases, and spies on our armed forces, even here in Nebraska. That's why I'm fighting to keep Chinese technology off of our cell towers, stop China from buying Nebraska farmland, and protect Americans from Chinese spying and cyber attacks. I'm Mike Flood, and I approve this message because I'll always defend Nebraska, whatever it takes.
Pete Ricketts cut our taxes
Big time.
and provided billions in property tax relief.
Pete deployed forces to the border and always backs the blue.
He kept businesses open.
And got kids back in school.
Now Pete's fighting just as hard in the Senate as he did as governor.
And he's giving them hell for Nebraska.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
Our Senator, Pete Ricketts.
I'm Pete Ricketts, and I approve this message.
Welcome back, everyone, to your battle with the Bruins. We are just over 3.5 hours to kick off. And, Jake, it will be a contest featuring two schools that haven't met in nearly a decade, and should be a fun one. The Huskers are heavy favorites in today's game, according to the numbers. But seeing how these two teams square off, let's dive back into the history between these two programs.
Yeah, the last time we met, as you mentioned, all the way back in 2015 under head coach Mike Riley's first year, and it was a bowl game, the Foster Farms Bowl, where the Cornhuskers defeated the Bruins, led by Tommy Armstrong, winning 37-29, marking the last time the Huskers have won a bowl game. Armstrong had a pretty good game, 12 of 19 completions for 174 yards and 1 touchdown in the air, along with 76 yards rushing and a score. The Bruins offense, though, was led by former NFL first-round draft pick Josh Rosen, who ended that night with 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions, of course. The Huskers will hope to repeat that type of game today. As you mentioned, if they can do that, they'll be bowl dancing for the first time in 8 years. And through 13 meetings all time between UCLA and Nebraska, the Huskers have the slight edge of the record of 7-6 over the Bruins, although since 1995, they've met only 3 times, 2012, 2013, and most recently, as you mentioned, 2015. But since 1960, it's pretty clear what program has seen more success. Nebraska, 5 championships versus UCLA's none. The Huskers, though, have a total of 26 bowl wins.
But jumping to present day, where do the Huskers stand against this year's Bruins team? UCLA comes into Lincoln after a bye, snapping a 5-game losing streak, beating Rutgers 35-32. The Bruins are 2-5 on the season, their worst 7-game start to a season since 2019. Nebraska coming off of a near upset over the Buckeyes in Columbus, looking to get back in the win column today in Lincoln, where they've seen much success. 4 of their 5 wins have come at Memorial Stadium.
And the numbers, of course, Nate, show us a few things here, right? What stands out to you?
Yeah, sure. The Huskers' defense standing strong, holding opponents under 20 points a game. And the Bruins, well, not in the same case for them, not even the same class. They're giving up over 25 points per game. In fact, they've allowed the 3rd most points in the Big Ten Conference.
But it is worth mentioning, if you take a look there, the strength of schedule numbers, UCLA has faced one of the tougher schedules in the country, ranking 13th among all Division I schools. But the record certainly hasn't resulted in a lot of wins, but they've been battle-tested thus far this season. So this is a team the Huskers cannot overlook.
Yeah, Jake, and one final thing that the Huskers would like to see today, the winning the turnover battle. They're +2 on the season so far, and the Bruins, they're at -7. But Jake, a lot of history. Last time these Huskers won a bowl game, we've got to talk about how long it's been since the Huskers have been clinching.
I mean, a lot on the line today for the Huskers, right? We've mentioned it probably too many times in this show at this point, but they're trying to get their mojo back at home, right? A chance to clinch their 6th win of this season is something they haven't accomplished since 2016.
The Huskers have been stuck on 5 wins for 3 straight weeks now.
after losing to Indiana in Bloomington. And to Ohio State and Columbus. But today, they'll have another go at it. Nebraska still searching for that 6th win of this season, which would clinch them a bowl game. Something this university, these fans, and this program haven't experienced in 8 years. The last bowl game the Huskers played in was December 30th, 2016 versus Tennessee. That team featured quarterback Riker Fife, led by head coach Mike Riley. But on the other sidelines, the Volunteers were led by quarterback Josh Dobbs. And since that 38-24 loss in the Music City Bowl, the program has been through a lot. 3 different head coaches, 7 straight losing seasons, a combined winning percentage of just 37%. A win today would not only clinch a bowl game for the Huskers, but for these players, it would mean a lot more.
Yeah, we know it's important to get that 6th win. And, I think, we all want the same thing. Just focusing on one game, and not, trying to jump ahead in the weeks or, overlooking, an opponent or that type of deal. That kind of already happened to us this year.
Before practice, I actually heard someone say there haven't been a bowl game in 8 years or something like that. So I think giving the fans a guaranteed one more game, possibly more being in the playoffs, would mean a lot to this fan base. And they've been through a lot and they've been really loyal to everybody. So, yeah, it'd mean a lot to everybody to get to a bowl game. And I think just the focus of trying to win this week and this week only. And
so the question remains, is the 3rd time the charm as the Huskers look to grab that 6th win in front of a home crowd, or will fans have to wait just one more game?
Great stuff there, Jake, and today feels like a must win, and I think it's about time. Score prediction, what are you thinking here?
I'm going to say I think Nebraska has a very similar game like they had against Colorado, so I'm going to say 27-16 over UCLA today.
Okay. I think Nebraska's offense is going to show up. I think the defense is going to be here. I really hope that they continue the momentum that they had in Ohio State into this game. I'm going Huskers 35-17. Jake, a lot to look forward to later today. We'll have more coverage for you later tonight. For now, though, thanks for joining us in the show. It's been a pleasure. Thanks to Larry and Trey for hopping on with us. Jake, for the final time, Nate Johnson, Jake Homan. We'll see you out on the football field.